Check. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Payal, and I am the marketing manager for Mouser India. A very warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us at the last session of the sixth edition of the Mouser India Technical Roadshow. When we started the series, the idea was to create a space where innovators could come together, not just to learn about the latest technologies, but to exchange ideas, ask questions, and share experiences that help push the boundaries of design. Our first roadshow focused on IoT. Back then, it was just a buzzword, just starting to shape the future. Since then, this event has evolved to cover a much wider range of cutting edge technologies and real world applications, from rugged electronics and power management to AI, connectivity, and more. Today, alongside our partners, we are excited to continue that journey, bringing you the newest solutions, trends, and insights that can realize your ideas. So, thank you once again for being here. We have a full day ahead packed with technology talks, expert sessions, and of course, a chance to meet new friends and reconnect with familiar faces. But before we get started, here are a few quick notes. I would request everyone to please keep their phones silent. We will have short breaks in between, and lunch will be served at 2. Also, please don't forget to visit our partner booths during the break for some exciting demos. We will have Q&A at the end of all presentations, so please save your questions until then. Now, to kick things off, it's my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to Daphne, our VP of Marketing and Business Development, and Clinton Josh, our VP of Global Support. We are truly delighted to have her with us today. I would now like to invite Daphne on the stage to take us through Mouser, who we are, what we do, and how we are driving meaningful innovations across the electronics industry. Over to you, Daphne. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Monster Technical Roadshow. And it's very happy to be here. I think some of you may already be Monster's customers, but many of you might be new to us. Probably don't know who we are and what we are doing. So here, let me tell you why Monster. So from the cover page, you will see we named Monster as electronics is an MPI distributors. Because in the market, you will find many different type of distributors. They may have different focus, may have different applications, may focus on different products. But Monster is the one in the world. We are the leading distributors who likes to work with our manufacturers to bring in their newest products to the market. As we work directly with the more than 1,200 manufacturers in the world. So where you want to find the products, you can find it here. As you can imagine, when you do the design, there's a long journey from our design chain to the supply chain. For many distributors you may used to work with, I think many of them, they will have their focus. They do a lot of the fulfillment. But for most of, as we mentioned, we'd like to focus on the new products. We really focus on those engineers who want to do the new design. As the technology has been changed so quickly, however, the design journey will be sometimes more than 1 or 2 years. But when you design, we don't want you to use the old products, but the new ones. So this is how we want to work very closely with our manufacturers to bring in the new products. So for Mouser, we cover the whole chain, supply chain. So when you design, we would like to be here. We know when you design, you only require for maybe 1, 2, or 5 pieces instead of the full package. And when you work with your manufacturers or with your distributors, they may have the minimum order quantity or a standard package. But for Mouser, you come to us. We sell even one product. So in order to fulfill the new products, how we work with the manufacturers, you can see when we compare with our closest competition, actually we implemented the new products more than double than the others. And we have a specific team to work on this, and that would be a huge investment. Because when we work with the manufacturers, when they have the new product launch, they will already have the target market. Some they may design for the automotive, some may be designed for the aerospace, and also for the IoT or for the wireless. But for us, Mouser really doesn't mind where is the market. For us, our value to the manufacturers is to find the new demand. So we call us also the demand creation distributions. And this is our value, not only to our manufacturers, but also to you. If you are the engineers when you want to design, if you cannot find the products from Mouser's website, we will tell you better forget it, because otherwise, when you have used the old parts to design, probably you will not find the parts later because EOL. So this is how important we need to make sure we have very strong team and work closely and to launch the product quickly. So last year, we have more than 4,000 new microsets built in Mouser.com. And there are more than 60 million page views. And of course, some are from your contributions. Thank you. As Mouser established in 1964, actually we are 61 years old. It's a very long history. And we are e-commerce distributors. It's very easy for you to access. However, to consider the customer service, globally we have more than 28 different locations, especially in Asia, especially in India. We all know India now plays a very important role for the world. So in each country, we have only one office. But in India, now we have one in Bengaluru, actually just next, not too far away from MG Road from here. And we also have another office in Pune. And this is not the end. As I mentioned, India is a very important market for us. And we know the diversities, and we are planning to have more expansion. We are going to have more offices set up in India. So why we need the office here? As we already have the e-commerce, it's provided the self-sufficient self-service. You can place the order online. But we know you may have many questions and you want to talk with the people. And we have the people here. We have our customer service team here. So when you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact with our people here. So I'm not going to talk about to introduce Mouser how fast we has been growing for the past few years, but there are some important functions and tools we would like you to know, because most of you may come to Mouser and you search the parts, you place the orders. That's good. But actually, we have more than that. So from Mouser's website, you will see you can find the product and also the service and tools. To improve your efficiency, we have also a lot of tools for you. For instance, if you are a buyer, but for our electronics business, you have more than hundreds or thousands part numbers you don't want to key in one by one. So you can work with our team to link up with EDI or API, so that will help you to improve the efficiency, as well as the BOM. You can also upload your BOM list to build up your own Mouser.com account that only be managed by yourself. So by building the BOM, you can also send up all the items that will give you the answer about the availabilities as well as the price. So all the tools is only, we are here for you to browse it, so that will be easier to make your time. So besides that, we also have other website for you, because people come to Mouser to find the parts. Actually, we also have built a lot of technical contents. So let me share with you. So we have so many design resources as we work with the leading manufacturers, and you can see there are so many technical contents and the applications. So you need to drill down all our website at the bottom, so you can find the technical resources library. And there will be different type of applications for you to use, because to our website, we want to provide a one-stop shopping for the components and also for you to learn. It will be a very good website for you to get the newest product information and technologies. So this is one of the example. We have the resources hub, like give you the new products and also the industrial trends, and also a lot of educations, and also a lot of diagrams for you to learn. So it's very quick introduction, but there are some key takeaways for you. I don't know whether you can see it here. We are electronic distributors. As we don't have the outside sales, yes, we do have the CDR to visit the key customers, but our job is to do the e-commerce, and we are a very strong marketing company, but also to sell the components. So this is why this will not be the only marketing campaign we host here in Bangalore or in India. We continue to find the new opportunities to give more engagements. So we work closely with our manufacturers, and we think today we have ADI, analog devices, and we have little fields, as well as with booth here. So later, during the break time, please spend your time to talk to the manufacturers at the site. And also, we are the leading distributors for the NPI. As I mentioned earlier, when you do the design, our market is really count on you to find the newest technologies. Besides the NPI, we know all the products. When you design, you also need those legacy products. So we offer the widest selections to you. So from Mouser's website, there are more than 8 million SKUs for you to search. And there are more than 1 million products for you to search and place the order, and we ship out on the same day. And in Mouser.com, you can find all those technical data and also the resources to help your design. As I mentioned earlier, we focus on the customers around the globe for more than 900,000 customers. So for us, NPI is very heavy investment, because none of the distributors, they would like to stock the inventory where they don't know where are the customers. But for us, we are always the first one to work with the manufacturers and keep the inventories. And for us, when you buy the products from Mouser, you don't need to concern whether you can find it in the future or not, because we have huge coverage. It doesn't really matter what's the products to which applications, because that can be covered for all your needs. As we have so many different informations, of course, I think now everybody follow on the social medias, for easier for you to access us. Feel free to follow us by the Facebook and LinkedIn. You will get the most updated information. Thank you. So that's my short introduction. Hopefully you enjoy the day, and please be open and freely to ask questions if there is any. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Daphne, for the insightful session and setting the tone for the today. Up next, let's hear from Mr. Manish Soni, Director and Founder of Yantram Tech Electronics, who will share his perspective from the industry front lines. Let's give a big round of applause to welcome Mr. Soni. Thank you.
Good morning. So first of all, thanks so much to Mauser and everybody else on the organizing side for giving this opportunity to me. And I'm hoping this presentation will be valuable use of your time. Thank you so much. Let's start. Can you load it? So just to get inside this topic, I know today's topic is rugged electronics, and I thought that I'll choose a complementary topic to it. So this picture, how many of you recognize this picture? Go ahead. Voyager, it's great. So Voyager, actually, if you don't mind, can you reduce make the aspect ratio correct? Yeah? So this was launched in 1977, so it's almost 50 years that it has been in space, and probably the one creation of humans which is still operating out there, and they are still doing the old technology of the time for communication, for upgrading, and things like that. And we just heard from Ms. Daphne that Mauser has been also around for a long, long time. So they just, I think 1964 or something. Yeah, so 1964. And there was a brief intro of mine. So I come from Texas Instruments, about 16 years of work there. And Texas Instruments is 1930. So there is a lot of deep experience out there about resilience, about endurance, and about ruggedness. And that's what we are going to talk today. So why does endurance matter? I mean, ruggedness is fine. Ruggedness is to make things strong, to be able to withstand extreme circumstances. But endurance is where it's a test of time. So I have some pictures here. The one on the left, I do not know if anybody would recognize, but let's see if anybody can recognize this. Great, great. So it is the Apollo guidance computer, less than probably few kilobytes of memory to do the entire function. And the same product was used for guidance purposes, for landing purposes, and this was like you could load different firmware into it to make it do different things. And it endured many launches and many returns to the moon and back. Second one is HP35, and those of you, I think many of you are much better than I could ever be in electronic design. So you can see some of the capacitors and other components, Kemet, X5R, X7R. I think you might be familiar with all of that. So this product, HP35 calculator, was one of the earliest calculators, and it lasted several decades in engineers' pockets. And on the right, I think more of you would be able to recognize this. This is the classic Nokia mobile phone, very, very rugged, but at the same time, it would keep working in the rural conditions, in the cold, hot, no matter what. So endurance is very important, and it becomes even more important because of the current times where billions of people are using mobile phones that hardly last a few years, right? So the amount of e-waste, the environmental impact. So there is a whole different perspective in that dimension as well. Now let's go a little bit technical into what does endurance mean. So endurance is about three main things. It's about the environment, and that is where ruggedness comes in, whether it's able to endure humidity or high or extreme temperatures, electromagnetic radiations, and there are a whole bunch of frameworks to help us design with that. There is the tolerances and derating and so many other things. Then next is time, whether the device or the instrument product that you are developing, is it operating all around the year, 24/7? We look at systems right now, whether in this room, outside, they're operating almost all the time. Even mobile phones which say they are shut off, they're still operating, right? So they're still doing something. So one is that. Second is a lot of things are becoming battery powered. So how well does the product work with battery, and the battery life, and the batteries themselves have a limited shelf life and number of cycles that they can endure, right? So and the other thing is the manufacturability, or sorry, and the maintainability, upgradability. All of these things come in the domain of like time or the timelessness, how long it will something last. And then there are more. So today you might see some new malware coming up. So how well does the product, withstand that? There is security and there is usage. So I found it difficult to believe, but many mobile phone manufacturers like Apple, they will test their phones against cosmetic products, because we don't know what it will involve when it comes to the to people's use cases. So they will make things stronger because you might keep your phone with keys inside. So it goes beyond the regular, the guidelines or the handbooks of engineering that we may be familiar with. And of course, there is security, upgradability, safety. Safety, very important in automotive. Automotive is considered one of the greatest markets for electronics because the amount of electronics in cars is increasing for last several decades. Every year, the cars have more and more chips and more electronics, and it is only increasing. So it becomes very important that the product lasts, particularly the electronics, lasts beyond the life of the car, because if it goes bad, then the value of the car reduces for the user. We'll go through a story of some years ago. So Xbox 360. I mean, this is not to put down anybody, any brand or any company, but Xbox was a beloved gaming console, and it was used by millions and millions of gamers, right? And all engineering aside, they never thought that to be able to play more and more, the gamers will switch it off so that it cools down, and that caused thermal fatigue or something like that. And some of the connectors, which I'm sure Molex has a great selection of. So the connectors are the ones which often fail the easiest, or the connecting cables, harnesses. And that was one of the cause. We will never get into the actual cause because of the nature of the technology, but it cost almost $1 billion to Microsoft to repair. And that was not just an exercise in engineering, it was also an exercise in keeping up the Xbox brand. Because if they had not honored it, the consequences would be very different. Right? Now we go into layers of ruggedness. And so it is multiple levels that we have to work on before we will get to making a product rugged and ensure it is enduring for a long time. One is, of course, the component level, which is the DNA, the design, what components we choose, how well they will endure voltage fluctuations, frequency changes, radiation, interference, and so on. Then there is modularity. So when we design, one aspect is the serviceability part, or how easily we can repair. So if you look at industrial, those of you who are coming from the factory environment, you will see all these small slots, and some will be IO devices, some will be PLCs, some will be network, some will be power modules, right? So the way they design, even if there is some new discovery, when the product is in the field, they can repair it very, very easily with very minimal downtime on the factory. So that is the modularity. Resilience. Resilience meaning how well the system will come back up in case there is a situation which they have not thought about, or which is anomalous to the normal operating condition. Redundancy. So I also have background in automotive electronics. So there is redundant computing that happens. So when, for example, airbags, one thing that is important in airbag is that it must deploy when it is needed. But the bigger thing and more important thing is that it must not deploy when it should not be deploying, because that can be almost disastrous for the drivers and for many other people on the road. So there are double computers, decision makers in the electronic circuits, which will decide whether it should deploy or not deploy. And until both, sometimes 2 out of 3 are in agreement, only then the system deploys. So that is a bit about redundancy. And finally, the product. So the product, the outside, the experience, how it looks, how it feels, how the buttons perform, that is where the product is, and that is where the user is, right? So as a designer of a product, we have to think about how the user will use it, abuse it, misuse it, expose it to various different environments. And only when we do that, we can come with electronic products which will last and cause delight in the users, which will benefit not just the actual product's usage, but also the brand. So all of that comes in. And that's where timelessness is. So timelessness is where endurance comes in. Right? Now, to emphasize the points I have been making, here is an example. This is a photograph I took a couple of weeks ago while I was, looking for things to talk about for this session. So this is a auto rickshaw meter, supposedly GPS enabled, and which could even print the receipts and so on. But if you look at the switches, they already have a tape. The adhesive often has no specification. Nobody will tell you if you use an adhesive, how long it will last, whether it can withstand humidity and temperature. So the choices that we make while designing something is very, very important. I will leave aside the empty boxes, but let's focus on the enclosure. Enclosure is plastic, right? So to keep the costs down, perhaps, or for whatever reasons. But as you can see, almost everybody, every auto rickshaw where it was installed, required a metal box outside. So the overall cost of the product is actually much higher than what it could be if they had designed a more rugged or a more resilient enclosure. And if you look at these contraptions, which we lovingly call jugaad culture in our country, so there are these washers and gaskets which are keeping the thing in place, right? So we need to go beyond that, because if a device is going to be in an auto rickshaw, it has to last at least the life of the auto rickshaw, because that is not a market which is an iPhone level market. It's a market which is very, very value and price conscious, right? And then there are the choices of the buttons, right? So if you had, I do not know how many of you are familiar, but if you look at some of the buttons in the telephones which were deployed out in the railway stations or airports a long time ago, before mobiles became so common, they would have much rugged buttons, right? So the buttons also have to keep in mind how many times it's going to be pressed, who is going to press it, what kind of force will get applied. So it's lots of different things. So components, what trade-offs we are making, look at the enclosure, very, very important. Then mechanical is the one of the most fragile or the vulnerable part of any electronics, and that we must be watchful of. And life cycle, how long it is going to last, what is the usage, how it is going to be used, all of that. So very long time ago, earlier in my career, I got to work on the chips that go inside the Cisco's IP phone. So these chips are usually not available outside. They were just built for the specific customers. But this was the first time that voice and fax data was going to travel over Ethernet cables in enterprise environments. And they were also trying to reduce the number of Ethernet ports, because every cubicle will have only one port. So the data will go into the overall network. Into this phone, there was a Ethernet switch there, and it would go into the desk of the worker. So the reason it was by Texas Instruments, the reason why, or one of the reasons it won, was that the voice subsystem was extremely customizable, programmable, and modular, changeable, because they didn't know how things will evolve over the years. And if you are selling a telephone for hundreds of dollars per desk, you have to take that in mind, because a recall will be. We just saw the story of the other product, and then the network subsystem was also programmable, and I actually worked on the network subsystem. Every packet, how it will be dealt with, was programmable. A couple of years later, we had to implement some security standards, and they were also implemented at the same time. So how flexible the design is matters. And the testing, so testing was so automated that it was almost like an experience in itself. What amount of time and energy one would spend in designing, exploring, selecting parts, probably more energy, more time, more engineering went into the test part. And as I said, extensibility was one of the key reasons why the product just went on and on and on, right? Another lesson, medical patches. These, you see, many companies are nowadays giving continuous glucose monitors. And in this, the key thing is battery life. Only 14 days battery life, not because, well, partly because of electronics, but also because of the actual sensor. So when the sensor can last a certain time, we have to ensure that all other things will last that much time. And here, the engineers thought through that how the product will be sitting on shelves, and one product after it got its battery might be used in just 2 3 days, another one might sit in the shelf for maybe 6 months. What happens to the battery at that time? So it has elaborate arrangements for figuring out that it has been unpacked. Now it comes into the actual standby mode, and then it connects with things, and the person can go into a shower, go for a swim, go on trekking, play sports. It has to withstand all of those scenarios. The user experience, seniors, people who may not be very, very tech savvy, they are the users. So how can engineers think that a person who has absolutely no idea about what like a light sensor or a chargeable battery is, they also have to use this. So the user experience, reliability, and a lot of it is this engineering is invisible. The best engineering, I would say, is invisible engineering, because you don't have to give a user manual to the person, because nobody reads them anyway, right? So how we can make products which just imagine and model the user scenarios and design accordingly. So one thing we can see here is that initially there used to be a separate reader. Over time, it went into Bluetooth, of course. So that was the only part I would say, is that yeah, they kept it modular. So it was always a separate thing. And very soon the chip inside got swapped and it became mobile compatible. IoT products. So little bit on the business side. So when we design things, particularly IoT, extremely cost conscious, a lot of standards which are changing all the time. But today you have something, tomorrow is something else, and you will see, you do one Google search and you will see stories and stories of how IoT products get bricked, and that is one of the reasons why this market is taking off in a very, very fragmented way, very customized solutions. So this is like smart switches which will lose all their support because the cloud service is going to be shut down by the operating company. And second one is that they did some trial, but then they figured out that it is not working. So they said, okay, everything is bricked. It goes to e-waste, landfill, nothing, no future. Right? How can we avoid this? We can avoid it by partly by engineering, definitely, because not all business decisions are because of engineering limitations. But if we do design and engineering such that the product can have a second life after that. So I will give you one example of a small company called Slim Devices, and they made a music player, and they finally open sourced it, and many of those are still on sale on eBay and still having a life outside of the landfill. So endurance, it goes beyond the spec. With the spec, yeah, you design some things. I gave you example of how Apple tests its phones against cosmetic products, for example. So design is one thing, but we have to also think about how it is going to be used, what is going to happen, and over time, how things will change. And tests, I gave the example of the IP or the internet phone, and how testing was one of the vital practice that they adopted to make sure that this phone, which is sitting on millions of workers' desks across the entire country, across the globe, was going to just last for a long, long time. Life cycle, yeah, imagine or the story that the product will live through its lifetime. If we think about that at design stage, we can make our products last longer and perform better. And of course, there's the business decision. I mentioned the IoT boxes, how business circumstances and business conditions can change over time, and how if we think about those, it can help us make the system endure a longer time. I mean, many of you are great engineers designing rugged electronics and industrial electronics, but a small checklist here. Component D rating, very, very common. That is essential to make sure that everything is going to perform the way it is supposed to and beyond. So I'll give you an example of Sony televisions, for example. Initially, they were importing the flat screen TVs, and they would not have the voltage tolerance beyond the 10%, 15%. But in our country, sometimes there would be spikes, and a lot of TVs will be going away because of the circuit is just not designed for it and cannot be repaired, because the whole thing is integrated into one motherboard. And later on, the refrigerators in India, the air conditioners, the TVs, all started to have much higher or wider tolerance for the conditions that you can see in our country. So test across time and the environment. Redundancy, single points of failure. How the industrial people, when they build the controllers, they are making it modular for extensibility and also for maintainability and to identify where the problem is so that they also have to correct only one part. And this also goes in, even if you have a single PCB, if we are only modifying a certain section, and we know that this part of the circuit can be upgraded or adapted to a different scenario, it is going to reduce the NRE cost of engineering and give you a better system over the life of that. Diagnostics, field upgrades. This goes very true for almost every connected electronics, that if you can't diagnose, what do you do? Right? Oftentimes there will be a recipe saying, yeah, you go ahead and replace this component, then that component. And it happens in home appliances a lot, that you will get the worker coming in and he will say, no, we have to replace this, we have to replace that, like that, because there is no good way to diagnose and identify the root cause of failure. Cloud transients, almost every electronic, there is starting to get some cloud components. So how we can make sure that we can upgrade not just the server side, but also the remote side. User interaction and interface over time, right? Things change, and how the product will adopt that. And last one is graceful failure. Even if there is a circumstance, whether the whole thing is going to burn down or will only a fuse blow up. So that is one simple example of how the failure can be graceful. Whether in a car, is the accelerator going to go out of control, or the automated cruise control will just disengage. So that is another example of how our products can be made to fail in a graceful manner. So I talk about Make in India. So I think if you look at history, of course, long history, Texas Instruments, Mouser has had a long history, and they have the learnings of decades of institutional knowledge, as well as cultural and civilizational knowledge, and which unfortunately it's been missing, because we didn't really participate in the industrial revolution the way some of the other engineers did. So endurance is by design. So how can we create products that will endure, and the endurance is in the design. So today, if you go Braun, for example, German company, amazing design, user interface, and they will, keep working for long time. Of course, they also have a pressure of the market dynamics because of low cost products. Uh, but some of the designs are just timeless. And if we try to find something in let's say our local designs, we will be hard pressed to find such things. So how can we inculcate this value as a culture, as an engineering practice? I think we will be making products which will last, and people will be delighted that, okay, you buy this and you are good to go, right? Versus somebody always coming in to repair and fix and replace all of that. So ruggedness, in short, it helps survive the storm, but endurance is something that helps keep the product relevant way beyond the storm is over. Thank you so much. I can take questions, and here is my LinkedIn and feedback for this talk. It will help me improve any future such opportunities. It's very short, will take less than a minute of your time. Thank you so much. Any questions? You can do questions later. All right, later.
Thank you so much, Mr. Soni. All right, so before we begin, it's my humble request to everybody to please keep your phone silent. Next, we have Mr. Navneet Vinayak from Little Fuse, who will walk us through reliability in the real world, rugged solutions. Please welcome Mr. Navneet on the stage.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So I am Navneet. I am with Little Fuse for a very long time, around 12 years now. And I'm not sure if you're aware about Little Fuse and what we do, but we manufacture a lot of electronic components which are used in almost everything which runs on electricity, because we deal with protection and now with power control, sensing and switching as well. Okay, so today we are talking about rugged electronics and building more reliability into products. So I'll go through these four subtopics. We'll talk about ruggedness, applications which demand some special reliability, and then we'll talk about Little Fuse portfolio and some application examples. So, what is ruggedness in electronics? So we have electronic systems which are very simple, like this microphone. This also needs some level of ruggedness because I can drop it. It can have mechanical vibrations or shock. If we are sending something in outer space like satellites or spaceships, they'll be exposed to radiations, high temperature, so that needs a very special form of ruggedization. It can also be related to environmental protection, like something installed outdoor, which is prone to dust or moisture, or anything which runs on AC power, and many automotive applications frequently endure surges or transient spikes or load dumps or other things. And also, when we deal with compact electronics, power electronics, heat is generated. So any electronic component which is running on electricity, it will dissipate some power. So heat dissipation in this pointer or this one may not be important, but when we are talking about an EV charger or motor drives, those things, the amount of heat generated may also require some special handling. So all these things need components to be more reliable, and also there are compliance requirements. If we talk about safety, UL is there, IC is there. So our solutions need to meet those compliance requirements. So all these things require ruggedness. If we talk about end applications, we have listed down some applications like computing. Normal laptops are okay, but if we have a laptop which is for the defense, military, it needs to withstand a lot of more mechanical stress on the body, but also if the laptop is going to get dropped, the component should be able to withstand vibrations. Similarly, it will have moisture or temperature variations, and ESGs, so dry environment, wet environment, different environments will create ESGs. Similarly, industrial applications like robots or motor drives, they again have vibrations. Also, because they run on AC power, they'll need some surge protection, special surge protection as well. Medical solutions, especially emergency medical equipments, life-saving equipments, they also demand the electronics to work when it is needed. So we again have products which we support in this market. uh, Telecom infrastructure, telecom is like communication is backbone of the world. So we need 24/7, 365 zero downtime communication. But these telecom towers are installed on top of buildings. They are exposed to surges. So that needs protection. Plus, when we are installing something on the rooftop, it's going to have sun or water or wind. So all those things needs special care for the electronics being used there. Similarly, transportation is automotive, again, vibrations, temperature, aviation and aerospace, high altitude needs radiation hardening or temperature cycling. So all these different applications, there are simple products, and then there are products which are going to face extreme conditions in these applications. So again, some level of ruggedization, some level of higher reliability is needed depending upon where that particular electronics is going to use. As Little Fuse, we have been doing circuit protection for almost 98 years now. So we have a very broad portfolio of circuit protection solutions. Along with that, we have expanded into power semiconductors, switching, sensing solutions, industrial solutions, and other things. So this slide gives a snapshot of some products which are specifically made for higher reliability for more extreme environments. I'll just pick a few examples here. So if we see this fuse, the yellow one, so it's a fuse which is made for intrinsic safe environment. So normal fuse is conducting element, and when the energy flowing through it exceeds the rated energy, this element is going to start melt. When it melts, it's going to generate a lot of energy. During the transition, it goes from a conducting to an open state. That energy can create a spark. That spark may be okay if it's sitting inside a metal cabinet inside an industrial system, but if that uh, product is in an oil and gas environment where the air is explosive, then you need special fuses. So something like the yellow one, which is intrinsic safe fuse, we do a lot of more epoxy and sometimes even ceramic or other encapsulation to ensure the fuse does not fails in those kind of hazardous areas. Similarly, other products are here. We have high energy T-based diodes, high energy varistors, different applications. High voltage power semiconductors. So wherever power semiconductor is used, is converting power from one voltage to another voltage. Some sort of conversion is happening. Whenever you are converting power, the system is going to have some efficiency. It can be 99, it can be 95, it can be 92. The remaining energy, the remaining power, is going to get dissipated in form of heat. So if I'm making a compact electronics, the heat needs to be taken out. So we have special packages, we call them ISO plus, which are isolated, but they offer very low thermal resistance. So you can take heat more efficiently out of the device. Again, run it cooler, make a compact system. Transportation world is moving from conventional 12, 24 volt to 400, 800 volt DC. And when we talk about protecting the system at DC, it offers more challenges because sine wave is going to go to zero twice in a cycle. DC is not going to go zero. So when we want to interrupt a high current flowing, a high DC current flowing, we need special measures. And when the voltage goes to 400 or 800 volt, this will need even more robustness. So we have fuses, we have circuit breakers. They are sometimes reinforced with ceramic bodies, sometimes with sand fillers to ensure they open up safely. On the switches side, we have a lot of IP-rated switches available, different form factors, different type of products like rockers, stack switches, dip switches. Space and mill grade, we offer a lot of connectors. That's a specialty area for us. And some switches as well. And then on the industrial side, we have both simple fuses as well as a lot of relays which are used in the industrial environment. So I'll go a little bit detail into these portfolios along with an application example for each of them. So we'll start with circuit protection. So circuit protection, over voltage, over current. If I broadly classify, these are the two threats which any electronic system is going to face. Over current can happen due to short circuits, due to component failure downstream. And we have lots and lots of product in this. This slide lists down some of the higher reliable products. So if we talk about fuses, if we talk about automotive, we have AECQ 200 qualified fuses. So long time back, we had customers who used normal industrial commercial grade fuses in automotive, but those fuses were not designed to handle vibrations or temperature cycling, which happens in a BMS or something which is sitting close to the engine. So Littlefuse has been on the standards body for the AECQ fuse definition standard, and we have been developing fuses long before the standard came into picture, where these fuses are designed to work in automotive environment. We also have very high current, like 100 amps fuses in very small SMD packages. If you're making a new telecom system, you need compact fuses. We have products for that. We have other kind of high reliable fuses, hazardous area, or high speed semiconductor fuses, medium voltage fuses. Like these kind of fuses, they have ceramic bodies or melamine bodies, sometimes with sand, sometimes with concrete filling in it to contain the energy when a catastrophic failure is happening in the system. And then we also have some specialty fuses for EV and other applications. Moving to the other part of circuit protection, over voltage protection. So over voltage can be surges, can be ESD events, can be over voltages like line swells. We have a comprehensive portfolio of products both on the passive side and active. So we have arresters, a lot of different types of arresters, and we have been innovating on the formula for making those arresters. Our latest one are able to handle much higher surges in a smaller size. So again, you can make compact systems. We have products which are auto qualified for automotive applications. On the semiconductor side, we have different TVS diodes. They can be used on automotive, they can be used in military or avionics, and then also on telecom base station systems. And then we have ESG protection as well. So again, all three domains available with Little Fuse. One example of an application, this is a telecom base station. So I'm coming back to this one because this is a classic example of not something which is going in space or other areas, but it needs more consideration. So we have radio equipment sitting on the antenna. Now, if there's a lightning strike happening, even if this antenna has a primary lightning arrestor installed on it, this lightning arrestor will not conduct the complete lightning surge energy to ground. It also has like 70-60% it will conduct. The remaining surge, even when the lightning hits a primary arrestor, it's going to get induced on the nearby power or communication cables. That surge energy will try to find a path back to ground. For those kind of things, we have, normally we put a varistor, but this product is going to work 24/7, 365. We don't want a downtime in it. So we have customers who put these kind of big TVS diodes on it. Along with, we have several ESD protections for Ethernet ports and other things. This is one of the classic examples. Recently, we have had customers who are using those high current small SMD fuses also on these products, because as generations of products are advancing, sizes are becoming small. So previously I could offer, say, a 10 kiloamp interrupt current rating fuse in this like 40 size. Now we are able to offer it in a 15 by 15 SMD. So those kind of higher level products we are continuously developing on the circuit protection side. Moving to aerospace and defense, connectors is a very strong area for Little Fuse. So we make a lot of different type of connectors for aerospace applications. Along with that, accessories for them. And then we also have some splicing solutions in this domain too. We do make some harness assemblies which goes in typically aeroplanes, and then also some military and defense equipment, and then also circuit protection and switching solutions as well in this domain. So one example is splicing of different cables in an aerospace application. So traditionally, splicing is done manually. All those interconnections are done manually. That splicing involves a lot of time, a lot of checks are needed, secondary, tertiary checks to ensure that the splicing has been done properly. And obviously, it's very costly as well in terms of labor for inspection and doing. So we have these sort of connectors which don't need manual. They can do with lot of automation, and we can do a lot of savings in terms of time and cost when these kind of connectors are used, and they meet the MIL standard required for them. The other area where we have connectors are basically like for the satellite or ground equipment. So we have these kind of D-sub connectors with their accessories which are used in satellite applications. They can handle different challenging conditions like radiations or vibrations, and meet several MIL and ESCC standards in it. Okay, next one. Sorry, a little bit slow on this. So inside the cockpit, there's a lot of electronics used in an aeroplane or even military equipments. And this electronics is again designed to be very rugged, should not fail, should not be having a very fast or short duration failure rate. So we have a lot of customers using our surge protection solutions, TVS diodes, ESD protection on it. We do make a lot of switches which are used in inside the cockpit environment. So TVS diodes, we have special MIL qualified or high reliable products which available with us, and they help in the surge protection on this domain. Next, switches. So switches are used everywhere. Even in this one has like a couple of tack switches in it, and this one might have a slide switch in it. So we have standard variety of switches available, different type of switches. These can be dips, key switches, toggle, rocker, all those kind of switches are there. But when we want to use this switch in an automotive environment, we might need more of an IP rating, or if it goes in defense, it needs more vibration withstand or some of those things. So we have standard products available which are used in different industries. We have very small tack switches available which are used in medical devices as well. And then we also have a customization capability. So customization sometimes is very simple. We just need a feedback, like the haptic feedback. You need a different kind of feedback. So when we press a switch, the feel which the user gets, it varies from application to application. So that's something which we customize. We also do more level of customization, like putting some more components inside the switch. So we had recently had a customer in automotive who wanted some resistors to be built inside the switch for additional functionality. So we do those kind of customization solutions as well. One application for switches is connected medical devices. So medical devices, we have those glucose patch monitors, we have insulin pumps or automatic syringe pumps available now. Most of these devices get connected to the cloud, and the data is recorded. So we have several switches solutions which are used in this. We have very small IP rated tack switches or miniature slide switches, which may have gold plating in them because we want these medical devices to last for a long time. They can be exposed to moisture because it's ultimately in the hands of a user. Okay, another application is on the bigger side. So we have garden tools or industrial hand tools. They again need more robustness in terms of operation. So the operator there is going to have rough usage, more rough usage on these kind of tools. So we need switches which can handle more shocks or vibrations, and again they need IP rating on them as well. So different kind of switches, standard as well as more reliable solutions we have to offer. Moving to the next domain, power semiconductors. So we make a broad portfolio of products on discrete power devices. These can be more bipolars like diodes or thyristors, and then MOSFET products like MOSFETs, IGBTs, silicon carbide products. And we also make gate drivers and solid state relays along with it. When it comes to mid power, we have different module capabilities, and we have these kind of special surface mount power devices which offer very high level of integration. So if you need to make a compact electronic system, we have many customers using this kind of a product. If it goes to even high power, like hundreds of kilowatts or megawatts, we do have capsule devices or stack assembly capabilities with us. One application where we do something more for rugged electronics is on emergency medical equipments like a defibrillator. So if someone is going into a cardiac arrest, we have these emergency defibrillators now getting installed in hotels and malls and other places, which can give a electric shock to the person who is suffering a cardiac arrest. So these are very portable, compact electronic products. They might be designed to work 5 times or 10 times in their lifetime, not more than that. But when it is needed to work, it has to work because that's going to save someone's life. So we have been consistently making power devices going up to 5,000 volts, being used in these equipments for maybe more than 20 years now. We know how reliability is important, how to make them efficiently. And some new inventions which we have done is like a compact surface mount device which has all the IGBTs in it. So it adds more level of integration, but giving a good, reliable and thermally efficient solution. Another area is industrial. So industrial solutions are again exposed to transients, exposed to vibrations. So we have been doing powered semiconductors, MOSFETs, bipolars, and IGBTs for drives application. Again, uh, standard products used, but then sometimes we need more in terms of the package should be able to handle higher vibrations or the MOSFETs sometimes need to have more higher avalanche capability because surges can come in and those can damage it. So small changes in standard parameters, but they need to be tweaked to fit a certain application. Transportation solutions. So transportation for us is anything which is related to mobility. So it can be two-wheelers, three-wheelers, cars, or commercial vehicles. We have a big portfolio of products on it. So circuit protection is one part, which I have already discussed a little bit. We also have a lot of sensors. We have power distribution modules, and then relay switches and other things to offer for the transportation solutions. Transportation in itself is a product which is exposed to a lot of harsh conditions. It is vibrations, temperatures. So these products we have been making and supplying to customers. A couple of things which are interesting. When we move to scooters which are going to 70 volt, and now we have customers developing 140 or 200 volt bus levels, the fuses, as I explained earlier, needs to be made in a different way, because as the DC voltage increases, this energy going through the fuse, which has to be interrupted when it fails, is high. So we have fuses which more robust bodies, like up to 70 volts you can see in this form factor, and then we have more ceramic or melamine type body fuses available. Another area is DC contactors. So when we go to higher voltages, to uh, disconnect the system, uh, contactors are used. So you cannot use a relay because relays are usually 20, 30, 40 amps. So again, these kind of contactors, they are designed. We have products which are designed to operate up to 1800 volt DC, so they can interrupt current flowing at that high voltage safely. So again, the bodies are ceramic, or a lot of fillers are used inside it to contain the energy. Because when if you have ever seen a relay opening, when the relay makes or breaks, there's a small arcing happening, and that is at usually at AC. But when we talk about 1800 volt DC, the amount of arcing which can happen will be very high, and we don't want the contacts to easily corrode and fail. So again, special measures are done on this side as well. I think last area where we have a new solution which we are offering to customers is on the industrial side. So industrial portfolio for us usually consists of a lot of relays. So we make relays which are used in substations, like arc flash relays or neutral grounding monitoring, and then we have a lot of motor protection relays as well, which are used in mining applications. We have products for the HVAC, which can be mid-low power applications, and then some other solutions related to EV and solid state relays as well, which is a new product which we have recently launched. So one example which I'll take here is sometimes relays are installed in harsh mining applications or even oil and gas, where relay is installed at a certain distance or behind a door. So inside the where the relay is installed, the environment might be more hazardous. And every time if the operator has to enter, they have to wear a safety gear and everything. So we launched a relay which is connected via Bluetooth. You can control it through a device from a safer distance, and that has helped reduce the exposure an operator is going to have to a hazardous environment, also save cost on that. So this is one new product which we launched some time back. Okay, that's about the products. So uh, this slide just gives an overview of the different catalogs we have. So we'll share a copy. You'll be sending a copy to everyone, right? So you can download catalogs from here. All these images are hyperlinked to their web pages, so you can download it. If you need any further support, please let us know. Littlefish as a company, we are headquartered in Chicago, USA. As I mentioned, we are about 98 years old in circuit protection, expanding into power semiconductors, sensing, switching in the last 25 years or so. Our manufacturing is spread all across the world, mostly in Eastern Asia. We have a manufacturing in India as well, some in Europe and some in North America, with sales and marketing offices all across the world. So we are based. If you need any support, please let us know. uh, we continuously try to innovate new products. Product is one thing, The other thing which we are continuously helping is helping customers design reliable solutions. So when you are designing a product, you might need more support on, say, UL compliance or IC compliance. We understand those standards very well. So we help customers design products which can meet those standards. We also sometimes allow customers to use our labs to do pre-compliance testing, which are based in most of our factories. Portfolio wise, we have a very broad portfolio with a global manufacturing and global support team. So we have been trying to help customers in all the domains, not just selling components, but also designing it. If you have any issues with performance, we can help you analyze it. Those kind of things we can do. So that's about Littelfuse. Thank you, Mauser team, for your time today, allowing us to present, and thank you everyone for your time as well. Thank you. Any questions, anyone? We'll do it later. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Navneet. All right, so we will take a short break right now. We have arranged for refreshments and snacks. Please feel free to help yourselves. We'll begin shortly. Thank you.
Your passion to create is helping drive our growth, and the technological advancements you've either designed or inspired are fast becoming integral components in the automation of Mauser's logistical operations. Sensing, motor control, mobile scanning, IoT, machine learning, robotics. All technologies you, the engineer, have designed, we use in our global distribution center to stock more products, consolidate more orders more accurately, and ship faster than ever. So thank you for all that you do and for developing all the innovations that allow us to continue to better serve your needs.
There are many places in the world where your access is limited. You can't enter the vaults of Fort Knox. You probably won't find Canada's lost lemon mine. You may never lay eyes on the Vatican's secret archives. And the lost city of Z could remain lost forever. But at Mauser, we give you unlimited access to the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components from well over 1,000 leading brands engineers know and trust. On your quest for technology and innovation, let Mauser be your guide. No matter where you roam, you'll encounter places you can't access. Brave Norway's Arctic temperatures to venture inside the global seed vault, and you'll instantly be turned away. There's also no chance of getting past the guards at Buckingham Palace to dine with the king. While your thirst may be quenched, the Coca-Cola formula will remain a closely guarded secret. Hidden for more than 500 years now, Montezuma's treasure, in truth, may never be seen. And unless you're Japanese royalty, you'll never set eyes on what's inside the Ise Grand Shrine. But when it's time to obtain the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components for design, Mauser always gives you full, unrestricted access. Let us be your guide in exploring a world full of technology and innovation.
When you want to do something big, you dream, you plan, you take measure of yourself and the challenge in front of you. You put in the work, and you put on your game face. That's the road to success. Leave nothing to chance. At Mouser, we know a thing or two about going big. Partnering with over 1,200 leading electronic component brands and helping them expand into markets around the globe has made us the fastest growing distributor in the industry. Maintaining the world's widest selection of inventory, embracing sophisticated warehouse automation, having local customer sales representatives capable of answering your questions about a product, its availability, or the status of an order. Well, that's just what we do at Mouser. We've made the commitment to remain the leader in new product introductions and to develop the productivity tools that make buying from us the thing over 650,000 customers have made a habit. Because at Mouser, we leave nothing to chance.
We are connected by more than commerce. Your ingenuity, your passion to create is helping drive our growth. And the technological advancements you've either designed or inspired are fast becoming integral components in the automation of Mouser's logistical operations. Sensing, motor control, mobile scanning, IoT, machine learning, robotics. All technologies you, the engineer, have designed, we use in our global distribution center to stock more products, consolidate more orders more accurately, and ship faster than ever. So thank you for all that you do and for developing all the innovations that allow us to continue to better serve your needs.
There are many places in the world where your access is limited. You can't enter the vaults of Fort Knox. You probably won't find Canada's lost lemon mine. You may never lay eyes on the Vatican's secret archives. And the lost city of Z could remain lost forever. But at Mouser, we give you unlimited access to the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components from well over 1,000 leading brands engineers know and trust. On your quest for technology and innovation, let Mouser be your guide. No matter where you roam, you'll encounter places you can't access. Brave Norway's Arctic temperatures to venture inside the global seed vault, and you'll instantly be turned away. There's also no chance of getting past the guards at Buckingham Palace to dine with the king. While your thirst may be quenched, the Coca-Cola formula will remain a closely guarded secret. Hidden for more than 500 years now, Montezuma's treasure, in truth, may never be seen. And unless you're Japanese royalty, you'll never set eyes on what's inside the Ise Grand Shrine. But when it's time to obtain the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components for design, Mouser always gives you full, unrestricted access. Let us be your guide in exploring a world full of technology and innovation.
When you want to do something big, you dream, you plan, you take measure of yourself and the challenge in front of you. You put in the work, and you put on your game face. That's the road to success. Leave nothing to chance. At Mauser, we know a thing or two about going big. Partnering with over 1,200 leading electronic component brands and helping them expand into markets around the globe has made us the fastest growing distributor in the industry. Maintaining the world's widest selection of inventory, embracing sophisticated warehouse automation, having local customer sales representatives capable of answering your questions about a product, its availability, or the status of an order. Well, that's just what we do at Mauser. We've made the commitment to remain the leader in new product introductions and to develop the productivity tools that make buying from us the thing over 650,000 customers have made a habit. Because at Mauser, we leave nothing to chance.
We are connected by more than commerce. Your ingenuity, your passion to create is helping drive our growth, and the technological advancements you've either designed or inspired are fast becoming integral components in the automation of Mauser's logistical operations. Sensing, motor control, mobile scanning, IoT, machine learning, robotics. All technologies you, the engineer, have designed, we use in our global distribution center to stock more products, consolidate more orders more accurately, and ship faster than ever. So thank you for all that you do and for developing all the innovations that allow us to continue to better serve your needs.
There are many places in the world where your access is limited. You can't enter the vaults of Fort Knox. You probably won't find Canada's lost lemon mine. You may never lay eyes on the Vatican's secret archives. And the lost city of Z could remain lost forever. But at Mauser, we give you unlimited access to the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components from well over 1,000 leading brands engineers know and trust. On your quest for technology and innovation, let Mauser be your guide. No matter where you roam, you'll encounter places you can't access. Brave Norway's Arctic temperatures to venture inside the global seed vault, and you'll instantly be turned away. There's also no chance of getting past the guards at Buckingham Palace to dine with the king. While your thirst may be quenched, the Coca-Cola formula will remain a closely guarded secret. Hidden for more than 500 years now, Montezuma's treasure, in truth, may never be seen. And unless you're Japanese royalty, you'll never set eyes on what's inside the Ise Grand Shrine. But when it's time to obtain the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components for design, Mauser always gives you full, unrestricted access. Let us be your guide in exploring a world full of technology and innovation.
When you want to do something big, you dream, you plan, you take measure of yourself and the challenge in front of you. You put in the work, and you put on your game face. That's the road to success. Leave nothing to chance. At Mauser, we know a thing or two about going big. Partnering with over 1,200 leading electronic component brands and helping them expand into markets around the globe has made us the fastest growing distributor in the industry. Maintaining the world's widest selection of inventory, embracing sophisticated warehouse automation, having local customer sales representatives capable of answering your questions about a product, its availability, or the status of an order. Well, That's just what we do at Mauser. We've made the commitment to remain the leader in new product introductions and to develop the productivity tools that make buying from us the thing over 650,000 customers have made a habit. Because at Mauser, we leave nothing to chance.
We are connected by more than commerce. Your ingenuity, your passion to create is helping drive our growth. And the technological advancements you've either designed or inspired are fast becoming integral components in the automation of Mauser's logistical operations. Sensing, motor control, mobile scanning, IoT, machine learning, robotics. All technologies you, the engineer, have designed, we use in our global distribution center to stock more products, consolidate more orders more accurately, and ship faster than ever. So thank you for all that you do and for developing all the innovations that allow us to continue to better serve your needs.
There are many places in the world where your access is limited. You can't enter the vaults of Fort Knox. You probably won't find Canada's lost lemon mine. You may never lay eyes on the Vatican's secret archives. And the lost city of Z could remain lost forever. But at Mauser, we give you unlimited access to the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components from well over 1,000 leading brands engineers know and trust. On your quest for technology and innovation, let Mauser be your guide. No matter where you roam, you'll encounter places you can't access. Brave Norway's Arctic temperatures to venture inside the global seed vault, and you'll instantly be turned away. There's also no chance of getting past the guards at Buckingham Palace to dine with the king. While your thirst may be quenched, the Coca-Cola formula will remain a closely guarded secret. Hidden for more than 500 years now, Montezuma's treasure, in truth, may never be seen. And unless you're Japanese royalty, you'll never set eyes on what's inside the Ise Grand Shrine. But when it's time to obtain the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components for design, Mauser always gives you full, unrestricted access. Let us be your guide in exploring a world full of technology and innovation.
When you want to do something big, you dream, you plan, you take measure of yourself and the challenge in front of you. You put in the work, and you put on your game face. That's the road to success. Leave nothing to chance. At Mauser, we know a thing or two about going big. Partnering with over 1,200 leading electronic component brands and helping them expand into markets around the globe has made us the fastest growing distributor in the industry. Maintaining the world's widest selection of inventory, embracing sophisticated warehouse automation, having local customer sales representatives capable of answering your questions about a product, its availability, or the status of an order. Well, that's just what we do at Mauser. We've made the commitment to remain the leader in new product introductions and to develop the productivity tools that make buying from us the thing over 650,000 customers have made a habit. Because at Mauser, we leave nothing to chance.
We are connected by more than commerce. Your ingenuity, your passion to create is helping drive our growth. And the technological advancements you've either designed or inspired are fast becoming integral components in the automation of Mauser's logistical operations, sensing, motor control, mobile scanning, IoT, machine learning, robotics. All technologies you, the engineer, have designed, we use in our global distribution center to stock more products, consolidate more orders more accurately, and ship faster than ever. So thank you for all that you do and for developing all the innovations that allow us to continue to better serve your needs.
There are many places in the world where your access is limited. You can't enter the vaults of Fort Knox. You probably won't find Canada's lost lemon mine. You may never lay eyes on the Vatican's secret archives. And the lost city of Z could remain lost forever. But at Mauser, we give you unlimited access to the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components from well over 1,000 leading brands engineers know and trust. On your quest for technology and innovation, let Mauser be your guide. No matter where you roam, you'll encounter places you can't access. Brave Norway's Arctic temperatures to venture inside the global seed vault, and you'll instantly be turned away. There's also no chance of getting past the guards at Buckingham Palace to dine with the king. While your thirst may be quenched, the Coca-Cola formula will remain a closely guarded secret. Hidden for more than 500 years now, Montezuma's treasure, in truth, may never be seen. And unless you're Japanese royalty, you'll never set eyes on what's inside the Ise Grand Shrine. But when it's time to obtain the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components for design, Mauser always gives you full, unrestricted access. Let us be your guide in exploring a world full of technology and innovation.
When you want to do something big, you dream, you plan, you take measure of yourself and the challenge in front of you. You put in the work, and you put on your game face. That's the road to success. Leave nothing to chance. At Mauser, we know a thing or two about going big. Partnering with over 1,200 leading electronic component brands and helping them expand into markets around the globe has made us the fastest growing distributor in the industry. Maintaining the world's widest selection of inventory, embracing sophisticated warehouse automation, having local customer sales representatives capable of answering your questions about a product, its availability, or the status of an order. Well, that's just what we do at Mauser. We've made the commitment to remain the leader in new product introductions and to develop the productivity tools that make buying from us the thing over 650,000 customers have made a habit. Because at Mauser, we leave nothing to chance.
We are connected by more than commerce. Your ingenuity, your passion to create is helping drive our growth. And the technological advancements you've either designed or inspired are fast becoming integral components in the automation of Mauser's logistical operations, sensing, motor control, mobile scanning, IoT, machine learning, robotics. All technologies you, the engineer, have designed, we use in our global distribution center to stock more products, consolidate more orders more accurately, and ship faster than ever. So thank you for all that you do and for developing all the innovations that allow us to continue to better serve your needs.
There are many places in the world where your access is limited. You can't enter the vaults of Fort Knox. You probably won't find Canada's lost lemon mine. You may never lay eyes on the Vatican's secret archives. And the lost city of Z could remain lost forever. But at Mouser, we give you unlimited access to the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components from well over 1,000 leading brands engineers know and trust. On your quest for technology and innovation, let Mouser be your guide. No matter where you roam, you'll encounter places you can't access. Brave Norway's Arctic temperatures to venture inside the global seed vault, and you'll instantly be turned away. There's also no chance of getting past the guards at Buckingham Palace to dine with the king. While your thirst may be quenched, the Coca-Cola formula will remain a closely guarded secret. Hidden for more than 500 years now, Montezuma's treasure, in truth, may never be seen. And unless you're Japanese royalty, you'll never set eyes on what's inside the Ise Grand Shrine. But when it's time to obtain the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components for design, Mouser always gives you full, unrestricted access. Let us be your guide in exploring a world full of technology and innovation.
When you want to do something big, you dream, you plan, you take measure of yourself and the challenge in front of you. You put in the work, and you put on your game face. That's the road to success. Leave nothing to chance. At Mouser, we know a thing or two about going big. Partnering with over 1,200 leading electronic component brands and helping them expand into markets around the globe has made us the fastest growing distributor in the industry. Maintaining the world's widest selection of inventory, embracing sophisticated warehouse automation, having local customer sales representatives capable of answering your questions about a product, its availability, or the status of an order. Well, that's just what we do at Mouser. We've made the commitment to remain the leader in new product introductions and to develop the productivity tools that make buying from us the thing over 650,000 customers have made a habit. Because at Mouser, we leave nothing to chance.
We are connected by more than commerce. Your ingenuity, your passion to create is helping drive our growth. And the technological advancements you've either designed or inspired are fast becoming integral components in the automation of Mouser's logistical operations. Sensing, motor control, mobile scanning, IoT, machine learning, robotics. All technologies you, the engineer, have designed, we use in our global distribution center to stock more products, consolidate more orders more accurately, and ship faster than ever. So thank you for all that you do and for developing all the innovations that allow us to continue to better serve your needs.
There are many places in the world where your access is limited. You can't enter the vaults of Fort Knox. You probably won't find Canada's lost lemon mine. You may never lay eyes on the Vatican's secret archives. And the lost city of Z could remain lost forever. But at Mouser, we give you unlimited access to the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components from well over 1,000 leading brands engineers know and trust. On your quest for technology and innovation, let Mouser be your guide. No matter where you roam, you'll encounter places you can't access. Brave Norway's Arctic temperatures to venture inside the global seed vault, and you'll instantly be turned away. There's also no chance of getting past the guards at Buckingham Palace to dine with the king. While your thirst may be quenched, the Coca-Cola formula will remain a closely guarded secret. Hidden for more than 500 years now, Montezuma's treasure, in truth, may never be seen. And unless you're Japanese royalty, you'll never set eyes on what's inside the Ise Grand Shrine. But when it's time to obtain the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components for design, Mouser always gives you full, unrestricted access. Let us be your guide in exploring a world full of technology and innovation.
When you want to do something big, you dream, you plan, you take measure of yourself and the challenge in front of you. You put in the work, and you put on your game face. That's the road to success. Leave nothing to chance. At Mouser, we know a thing or two about going big. Partnering with over 1,200 leading electronic component brands and helping them expand into markets around the globe has made us the fastest growing distributor. Maintaining the world.
So, welcome back, everyone. I hope you are all feeling refreshed and ready to dive back in. So, we have Mr. Sai Kumar from Analog Devices right now to share his insights on technologies to improve power efficiency and reliability. Please welcome Mr. Kumar. Over to you, Mr. Kumar.
Hello. Yeah. Can you guys hear me? In the last. Yeah. Thank you. So hi, I am Sai Kumar, Manager Central Applications in ADI. So we take care of all ADI products and support customers. So today I will be presenting on ADI power technology, especially concentrating on consumer and automotive. So the content will be like this. Two key segments I am trying to cover in today's session. One is consumer power and one is automotive power. I think this is what connects all of us very easily. Like we are in fact keep using watches, TWS, or rings and all this stuff. And other one is automotive. So we will see how ADI power technology is helping these devices become efficient and and having less EMI and all this stuff. Okay, let's start with ADI consumer power. So if you look at any consumer device, primarily let us take a fitness watch or a ring. They are primarily powered by a battery, right? They are primarily powered by a battery, and the key requirements for these devices are you should have long battery life. Long battery life, and second thing is, so here you can see. Okay, so long battery life. So long battery life indicates that the particular devices that are being used inside that device should be high efficient, must consume low quiescent current and fast charging. We don't want to wait the device to take more hours to charge. So we want it to be fast charging and full battery utilization. What does it mean? That means the SOC algorithm that is present in that particular device should be accurate. What happens is most of the time, if the SOC algorithm is not accurate, many customers try to use a battery with higher capacity, so that they get in order to achieve like 4 or 5 days of battery life, they tend to use higher capacity of battery unnecessarily because their particular SOC algorithm is not accurate. If the algorithm is accurate, they can actually calculate and figure out what exactly battery has to be fitted into the device. And portability, compact solution, high power density, and USB compliant. Today we are seeing most of these consumer devices are being charged by USB Type C. Gone are those days like we have used different type of USBs. Now everything is getting standardized and being charged using USB Type C, and cost effective, of course. It should be in these particular devices do sell in high volume, so they look for lower cost, and the size of the PCB is also very critical. Therefore, every device that sits onto this PCB should be as small as possible. So under this segment, we have the converters, PMICs, and low power single inductor multiple output PMICs. So in this session, I will be talking about SIMO. SIMO is a technology which is primarily used in consumer devices. So it's called single inductor multiple output. So basically it's a PMIC which gives multiple outputs with only one inductor used. So these are the variants that we have in consumer power supplying, all different kinds of equipment. So we have nano power devices which consume the quiescent current in nanoamps. When you put the device into sleep mode, the converter consumes power in nanoamps. And we have boost, nano power category, boost, buck boost, and inverting buck boost, and PMICs and high performance processors. We'll just see how that thing works. So this is the system level block diagram of any consumer device. So you take any consumer device, you have a PD controller. Of course, there will be a battery. So you need a charger, and to calculate the SOC of the battery, you need a fuel gauge, and you will obviously have an MCU which will be talking through Bluetooth to your phone app. And to power the MCU, you need some nano power converters or a PMIC. And there could be another application processor which might be running some algorithms for you. Okay. So this is like a typical wearable feature. So SIMOs, like you all know TWS, right? How small the headphones will be. So in order to fit in a power IC into that small headphones, you cannot afford using a switching converter, LDO, and multiple ICs. Because in a headphone, you see an amplifier, you will see a microcontroller, you need to have a battery, and you need to have a power IC. So 4 such ICs or 4 such systems have to sit in a small form factor of headphone. In such cases, we have something called SIMO, PMIC, which powers all these things. Yeah, I already talked about fuel gauge. So ADI has a proprietary algorithm called model gauge M5. So it's been widely used across the globe in many, many million devices. So this gives SOC accuracy up to 1%. So 99% accuracy. The error is only 1% across the temperature, even negative to positive temperatures. So this is how a typical SIMO converter looks like. So did you see? Everything is integrated into one single IC. You have a charger, you have a buck boost, which gives 3 different outputs. You have GPIOs if you want to give some indication using LDOs. You have an I2C communication to configure this IC, power sequencing, and an LDO. So charger, switching regulator, and LDO. So it also has a fuel gauge inside it. So basically all these things are combined into one single IC. And it has features like dynamic voltage scaling. So what does dynamic voltage scaling means? So many of you might be using a smart watch, right? If you see behind your smartwatch, you have the LEDs blinking. So it gets SpO2, it basically gets a PPG signal, which converts to SpO2. So what we see is SpO2. So what happens, in smartwatches or smart rings, majority of time, the current consumption is by those LEDs. So normally, the AFE vendor, even ADI has an AFE which uses that LEDs and get back the PPG signal. So you have to give 5 volt for the LEDs to turn on. But effectively, when you see, the LED forward voltage drop will be very less. And to turn on the LED, you will have a switch internal to the IC, which consumes the current. So total drop is LED drop plus the switch drop. That much voltage is enough to bias the LED and get the output. So why unnecessarily we have to give 5 volt, and that voltage will actually lead to more power loss. So dynamic voltage scaling, what it does is basically you can actually change any of this output to such level where bare minimum voltage is required to blink the LED. So these all things become very, very important, especially in such kind of consumer device. You see now many these smartwatch vendors or smart ring vendors are able to claim a battery life for 5 days, right? You continuously wear a ring and they are able to claim a battery life for 5 days. How is it possible? Because every point in that system has been taken care. That's why they are able to achieve with such a small batteries, up to 5 days of battery life. And you might as well see in the market, there could be some ADI device powering all these, fitness bands or something like that. So this is a subsystem of that. If somebody doesn't want to use a charger, they want to use a separate charger or separate fuel gauge, you can go for a subsystem SIMO, which only has a buck boost and a power sequencing and an LDO. So how does this essentially work? If you are familiar with your buck or boost converters, you have an inductor which gets charged, and when the switch is on and when the switch is off, that charge will be delivered to the output side. So that way they control the output load. So in this case, so we have 3 different outputs using one single inductor. Basically what we do is we have time divided all 3 outputs, and the inductor gets charged sequentially for each different outputs, and it supplies the output. So effectively, since there is an output capacitor, you will see an average voltage coming out. So this is a very high level, working of SIMO. There is a lot. If you want, you can actually go into ADI website and look at how a SIMO works. So, like I said, the system design challenges. We need a long battery life. We need to limit inrush current. We need to have multiple additional rails if you want MCU and Bluetooth. And since there is a Bluetooth communication involved, it is EMI sensitive. And in some cases, you have an audio performance. So audio, you cannot afford to have high noise power supply. So you need a very low noise power supply. Therefore, you can actually take a power from LDO. And of course, the sensor, which will be getting the PPG or ECG signal. Therefore, it should be less output ripple. So we will see how SIMO solves all these design challenges. So can you see here? So with all 3 outputs enabled and LDO output enabled, it is consuming 5 microamps of current, and rest everything is lower than that. With only 3 outputs, it's down to 3, and with 2, it's down to nearly 2.5, and with only 1 output enabled, it's less than 2 microamps. So this is the efficiency. So with all the outputs enabled, this is the blue curve, all 3 outputs enabled, the efficiency is going up to 91%. So this is efficiency. The worst case efficiency you could get is 83%. So that way, the system is very, very efficient because it's battery operated. Second thing I told you, right? Dynamic voltage scaling. Here you can see one particular output from 3.3 volt it has been dropped to 1 volt, and we are taking it back to 3.3 volt. This is called dynamic voltage scaling. So you can actually sequence all 3 inputs. So if all 3 inputs are turned on together, there will be output capacitance, it will charge, it will take huge inrush current. So if you don't want that huge inrush current, you can actually turn on one after the other in a sequence. So if you see 3 different outputs are sequenced at 3 different times. So that way you are actually limiting the inrush current that you are actually taking into your system. So you not have any additional protections to do that. So it will take care by itself. So the efficiency. So if you use separate components like a separate LDO, buck, and another LDOs, so you end up getting an efficiency of 69.5%, whereas with SIMO you can get efficiency of 86% with one single IC. So form factor, like I said, you have so many multiple ICs. The form factor, if they use SIMO, it can actually go down to 32.4 mm square, nearly 50% reduction in the solution size because the component size has been reduced. So not just reduce the component size, will actually reduce cost. Even number of component you place on the PCB reduces. Therefore, PCB manufacturing cost also reduces because of that. So here you see, if you use a separate PMIC, fuel gauge, buck, LDO, inductor, capacitor, you end up at 65.75 mm square, where everything is combined into one single chip. You have only 32.4 mm square. So this is one of our latest IC, MAX 77659. So mainly targeted for TWS kind of application. So this block, whatever you are seeing, right? You have a TWS cradle, right? That is a TWS cradle, and this is that earbud. So this can very easily fit into a small size of earbud because this has a charger and all rails coming out. So other things, you have a mic and a speaker. So output ripple rail. So as I told you, since you have audio and Bluetooth, you don't want output ripple to be very high, which will actually impact your communication and your sound quality. So the output ripple is also programmable. If you change the peak current limit of each output rail, ultimately the ripple will also come down. So you will not change the component as such. You can actually play with the peak current. Therefore, the ripple will also come down automatically. You need not have any external components, to be changed. So the same waveforms captured, from one of our converters. Again, transient perform. Whenever suddenly the Bluetooth start transmitting, normally these devices will be sleep in most of the time, and in sleep mode in most of the time. For every 5 minutes, they'll wake up the device, get the data and transmit it. As soon as the device wakes up, the Bluetooth will be waked up, and it consumes more current. So during such transient, the voltages are very stable. You don't get any voltage dip. The transient performance of these devices are also very good. So these are the ICs. So I've just put part numbers. So we do have a PD controller. It's called MAX 77958, and a buck charger to charge a single cell, and a fuel gauge which uses the model gauge M5 algorithm. And these are few nano power buck ICs, and these are the SIMO ICs. Okay. So let's just look into our PD controller. So this is a USB PD controller from our portfolio. I think you might be seeing a PD charger with all you guys, and your phone will have one such PD device. so which is negotiating with the charger. So what does essentially a PD device does? As soon as you connect the charger, this particular device will ask, if it is a two-cell consumer device, it will say, hey, I want 8.4 as my charging voltage. If it is a single cell device, it will ask for 4.2. So essentially what it does is it will negotiate with charger. Like if you see any PD charger, if you look at the specs, you will have the voltages mentioned, right? 5, 9, 15, 20. And some PD devices also has voltage mentioned like PPS, programmable power supply. That means you can actually change the voltage anywhere between 3.3 to 20 volt in a steps of 50 millivolt. So this particular device supports both PD and PPS. So if you use this device in your system, it negotiates by itself. It doesn't need any programming. It can work standalone. So if you have this device on your any consumer hardware, it negotiates with your PD charger and gets the required voltage and current required for your application. And another very good device for consumer application is this fuel gauge Max 17335. So we have multiple ICs in this series. I have put only latest IC which covers everything. So we started with fuel gauge, later we added protection to fuel gauge, later we added charging also to the fuel gauge. So this particular IC combines everything. So it has fuel gauge, it has charger, and it has battery protection, everything into one single IC. So again, it uses the proprietary model gauge M5 algorithm, and it has a linear charger. It also has SHA-256 authentication. If you put this device into your battery, and you don't want anybody, especially in the in the devices where battery is removable, if you don't want the end customer to use some fake battery, you can actually use this SHA-256 authentication feature, which is inbuilt in this device, to authenticate that this is your make of battery, that somebody is not using some fake battery. Right? So this device also has this authentication. So this is all about the consumer portfolio of ADI. So the SIMO and fuel gauge and USB PD, these are very much used in many of our, many of these consumer devices. So now let's switch to a different technology. We call it as silent switcher technology. Not sure how many of you have heard about this. So ADI has a technology called silent switcher. So this is again primarily related to a buck converter. So EMI is a big problem, right? So now we are moving from a small consumer segment to industrial or automotive segment, where high current and high voltage are being used. So for many customers, EMI is a big challenge. If you use a power converter and they don't do a good layout, EMI becomes a concern. So what is the real cause for EMI? Is the switching node. So you see the red circle there, right? So that is a high DI by dt loop. The current ramps up very fast. So that particular loop acts as a conductor, and it emanates a lot of EMI. So what did we do to minimize this EMI? So we call it a silent switcher. So you see, this is how a silent switcher switching waveform looks like. It's very clean. And this is the EMI performance. So you see, it's way below the CISPR 25 standard. So what did we essentially do is that using this Lenz law. So normally you will have a single V in from which we take power. So what we did is we have split the V in. We have split V in into two loops inside the semiconductor, such that each loop magnetic field cancels each other. So you have two loops. In one loop, the field is this direction. In another loop, the current is in different direction. The magnetic field is opposite to each other. It cancels each other. So that way, the noise that is coming from this particular device is reduced. This is one thing. So you see, so this is one is in one direction, otherwise in other direction. So each magnetic field cancels each other. So this is how it looks like. So normally you see any buck converter, you will have only one V in and one ground. So we have split V in into two. There are two V ins and two grounds. So these are symmetric and they cancel each other. Therefore, we end up getting low EMI. So these are few measurements. So that is a device which, which is silent switcher. So you can see all our silent switches are, very well within CISPR 25 standards. So customer need not really worry about taking care of EMI in the layout. But customers have complained telling that we are not getting what you are getting. We don't see the same EMI performance you are claiming it to be. So the reason is these capacitors. Those capacitors, whatever you see there, right, connected at green, they have actually connected far. So that actually increases the length and creates more EMI. Then we decided, okay, we came up with silent switcher 2 technology where these capacitors are also combined into the IC. So you see this is silent switcher 2 where all the capacitors which are actually creating the EMI problem are actually put into the IC. So customer need not really care about where he is placing the capacitor. So this is silent switcher 2 where the capacitors also combine into the IC. So somewhere like this, all 4 internal capacitors are inside the IC. And again, of course, this split win is still there. So silent switcher 2 has improved it much more. Now we are at silent switcher 3. So silent switcher 3 combines both silent switcher 1 and 2. Okay. So silent switcher 3 combines both silent switcher 1 and silent switcher 2 technologies, and we have further improved it. And we get ultra low frequency noise, which is very, very helpful in fields like RF, automotive, and all these fields. So if you see RF is very, very sensitive area, and it is very high current consuming area. So you cannot use an LDO. So LDO has a very low noise spec, right? But the current for LDO is very limited. If it is high power, you end up using a switching regulator. But switching regulator, the issue is more noise and more ripple. So silent switcher 3 performs equivalent to an LDO, and it can be used in RF, automotive, and of course industrial. Automotive, you are seeing lot of sensors getting added. So the critical thing for sensors and even the display, right? Display also is now becoming more and more big. So that means if you have any noisy power supply, you see a flickering in your display. And for sensors, you see the sensors getting underperformed if the supply is noisy. So silent switcher 3 solves both the noise problem as well as the power rating problem. So you can use switching converter and yet get better noise and high power. So what have we done with silent switcher 3? So that's whatever I explained, right? Especially in RF power supplies, low noise instrumentation, high speed, high precision ADCs, and medical applications. You need high power and low noise. So this is an LDO. Basically, we have in LDO, typically you see a reference taking from a VREF. So we have an LDO product where we removed VREF. VREF is the component which used to create a lot of noise. So we have removed a voltage reference and used current and put an external resistance. So the current will flow and it will create a VREF. So this is better performing than a VREF source. So same thing we have actually taken into a switching regulator. So what we did is, so you in the feedback path, you normally see a reference voltage, right? Be it 0.6 or 0.8. So what we have done is we eliminated the VREF and we used a current source internal to it, and external to that you can actually set reference voltage. So this has tremendously improved the performance, and we are able to get an LDO equivalent noise. So this way the feedback resistor is also eliminated. So now the feedback has become unity gain because there is no feedback resistor. You can actually set the feedback voltage using RSET. Yeah, and V out can be set down to 0 volt. So even if you want output to be 0, you can actually set V out to be 0. So this is a patented, technology for ADI. So here you see the performance. So you see LT8625S, it's the noise level is almost equivalent or same as a lithium ion battery. It is as if you are using a battery as a source. So normally people don't mention noise for a power supply, right? For a DC-DC converter. Whereas if you see the data sheet of LT8625 or any other silent switcher, you will have a parameter as noise mentioned in that. So it's as good as an LDO and as good as a ideal source, which is like a lithium ion battery. So these are the things whatever I have highlighted. So high efficiency, low noise, and ultra fast response. So just I thought I'll mention few things in automotive. This particular technology, silent switcher, is being used in our automotive products as well, which are AEC-Q qualified. So automotive, like I said, since you have seen more and more cameras, more and more sensors, more and more processing, now it is becoming very critical to use low noise and high power products. So the silent switcher solves this problem. So we have I'll just skip these slides. So here you see silent switcher 2. These are automotive qualified products which are available up to 16 amps and 42 volts. An automotive bus of 24 volt can be easily, you can use these products for an automotive bus of 24 volts inside the car. And we do have few buck boost in silent switcher technology. So we have buck boost, and we also have something called micro modules, which is for industrial, where inductor is also integrated into same IC. So yeah, this is what I have today. I've highlighted two technologies. One is SIMO and one is silent switcher. Any questions? I think we'll take it after 1:30, right? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. As for the last session of the day, please welcome Mr. Vamshi Krishna and team from Worth Electronics, who will be presenting about thermal interface material and practical approach on shielding. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vamshi Krishna. I'm working in Worth Electronics almost 15 years. So, slides are not going. Okay, just give you the 5 minutes introduction about my company. So what is Worth Electronics do? So most of the people knows about Worth Electronics. He's a Mr. Professor Reynold Worth, on whose name the company has started, and he's 90 years old, still live. And when it comes to the Worth Electronics belongs to Worth Group. We have almost 400 companies all over the world. And when it comes to the employees, we have 87,000 employees still working. So Worth Electronics belongs to Worth Group. So when it comes to the Worth Electronics, we have about 1.2 billion euros sales, which we achieved, and are across 8,000 employees working across global, and we are present in 50 countries. And we have production plants across 23 locations and 15 design and quality centers. And this is our head office, placed in Wallenberg, Worth, in Germany, which is near to the Frankfurt. And when it comes to our portfolio, I think we have everything which comes to on the PCBs, right from resistors to the magnetic components, power modulars, digital isolators, connectors, assemblies, and spacers, and so on, and LEDs, capacitors also. I don't want to talk about each and every product. I just want to give the overview of our product portfolio. So this is about brief our company. Now I'll talk about the thermal management. I think since morning we have seen people are talking about the ruggedized and miniature components. So it's very good that as the technology is going up, we will be working more and more compact and ruggedized designs. But at the same time, we also consider how the performance of our product is working. So one of the factor, I think EMIMC also plays very important role. One of the factor which has picked up, I think very recent years, I can say 3 years, is thermal. So how we manage the thermal on the system makes our product, end product efficiency will increase. We'll see now how. The topics which I'm going to cover is the hot topic. Yes, thermal management becomes a very hot topic nowadays. As we already told, there is a lot of very small components coming into the picture, and the efficiency of the end product keep on increasing. So it is become day by day, it is becoming a very hot topic now. And the second thing is how the flow of thermal management has to be in the PCBs. When you take about any product or on the PCBs, how the flow of thermal management goes. And then how do you find the solutions? How can Worth Electronics help you find out in the right solution, which also enhance the efficiency of the product? So this is more or less the topic presentations which I'm going to cover. So as I told, like thermal management, even though we say it is picking up in the market, it is not something not new. It is there since we have electronics existing into the field since ages. But as we told that why thermal management becoming more and more important in nowadays is the component miniaturizations. There's, if we talk about the Worth Electronics only, we have a chip-bit farad whose size is 0201, which carries almost 600 milliamps. Such a small component, not even you can pick it up with a naked eye, you have to just feel it. Such a small component is carrying such a high current. You can imagine how the component is going to be very small and componentization on the PCBs. With the respect of component miniaturizations, the compact also becomes very, very small designs. The best example I can tell you is, like, take about our smart mobile. The smart mobile has been introduced in, let's say, BlackBerry 2010. So there we used to send the mobile, only the emails. Now you imagine today's smart mobiles. What has it replaced? It cameras, mobile apps, and TV, and our medical equipments, everything is replaced. So with this, what is coming up is increasing in the power density. Obviously, when your system getting very small, the power density on the PCB is also going to be affected. I mean, it will increase the density. So all this makes us thermal management is become very important. And as a design engineer, it's not about the keeping the component or the product to be cool. It also efficiency or the performance of the system has to be performed. That is the biggest challenge as a thermal engineers, R&D engineers, we feel. So that is one of the motto. So what, as an engineer, what is my main motto when I think about the thermal management? The thumb of rule for any thermal engineers is always decrease the temperature by 10 degrees. If you try to decrease the temperature on the system by 10 degrees, you imagine the performance of the any component product will be doubled. It is a massive achievement if you try to decrease the 10 degrees even on the system, which is talk about the very compact product. So by doing this, what we are going to achieve? The first thing is, who will benefit? Obviously, as a manufacturer devices, as a manufacturer of component, we will be developing. As a product devicer, you will be development, and also the end customer. So who are going to deliver, whether it is be any white good application or aerospace, you name it, any product where the electricity force temperature develops, all the customers will be there. So, and the most important, the less e-waste, which we are talking about, very, very important in the present scenario when you talk about the global warming. So this is how the thermal management interaction we can talk about. So let's see how the strategies we can follow. What kind of strategies we have to minimize the thermal, what to call heat on the product. So for that, we have to know how the heat flows in our PCBs or in the system. Obviously, the first thing will be the heating element, which can be anything like ICs or components, backside of the PCBs or processing unit, whether it remains transistor, IGBTs or memory, battery cells, or maybe even say inductors, even connectors also, wherever electricity flows, heat will be generated. And to cool that product, we also use the cooling assembly, which could be the heat sinks or the metal housing, cooling planator, and radiator. So this is normally which any general system force. Now the question arises where the thermal management system come into the picture. The system thermal management exactly comes between the hot component and the heat sinks. This is the where the heat of the product in the system flows. Now we have seen that how the system flows and what kind of strategies we can implement in our system so that we can all benefit. So one thing is the fill in the gap. I think we all know when you use the hot component on the PCBs, we use the heat sinks, and when you use the heat sinks also, we still feel the component is getting heated up and you are not getting the things. The reason could be, what could be the reason? The reason is like you have a heat sinks and you have a small gap will be there. When you have a small gap, see, this is how the system looks. This is the ICs, and this is IC means any hot component I can say, and then top of that we put the heat sink. And so small gaps already consist of this thing, like you can see in the system, we have a heat sink and the processor, and in any design what we say is when you put the heat sink on the hot component, heat can be absorbed, but you still have a gap, and that gap is filled by the air. And we all know air has a very thermal resistive part. So that gap can be filled by using the thermal interface materials. That is called the gap fillers. This is fine when you have a small gaps. What happens if you have a large gaps? So how do you get the solutions for the large gaps on these systems? So in that, it is very difficult to fill the gaps between the heat sink on the PCBs. As I told you that it's not only the IC, we have all the passive components also will be there. So where you, that is also heat will be generated. So in that scenario, how large gaps can be filled? So for that, we can go for the spreadings, heat spreaders. So what exactly the heat spreader is, and some of applications, if you have a multiple components with generating the more heat, we use what you call the enclosure itself is the heat sink, or maybe we transmit through enclosures to the heat to the ambient temperature. In that scenario, we have heat spreaders which we apply thermal interface material on the PCB enclosures, not enclosed PCB, it's the product enclosures where the heat can be dissipated to the ambient temperature. So these are the two strategies we have in the market, in the practice, like gap fillers and the heat spreaders. So going further, that when you talk about the gap fillers, how the heat will be dissipated from the hot component. So when you are using the gap fillers, the heat always spread to the vertical. So I think you have a hot component, you have a heat sink, and when you put the thermal interface between the hot component and the heat sink, heat will be dissipated in the vertical. But when it comes to the heat spreaders, the heat will be dissipated to the horizontal way. This is the two different strategies we normally practice in the market. Now, so we can provide the heat. Now we have seen that how we can provide the heat by this is, first thing is filling the gap, and the second thing is the spreading the heat. So then the most important thing which as a R&D engineer you need to consider is these two, thermal conductivity and thermal resistivity. These are the two parameters you need to consider whenever you are selecting any interface material. So what is thermal conductivity? So we all know which conducts the heat, and the resistivity is which opposes the flow of heat from the system. Any product, if you are selecting, I think we all know air is the highest thermal resistivity we have. Even though we select the thermal interface material, each product will have some resistance. So that as a thermal interface material manufacturer for the electronics, we will be defining that value in the data sheet. So you need to consider, I mean, whenever you are selecting any interface material, please make sure that you have a look on these two parameters, which plays very, very important role transmitting the heat on this one. And application requirements. So it is also very, very important parameters you need to consider once you consider the thermal conductivity and the resistivity. So what are the application specific requirement is adhesive contact surface, because thermal interface material concept, this is the only application, each application is different from the other application. You cannot use the same solution with the other solutions also. The solution is a completely different based on the application which you are taking. The reason is because of this adhesive contact surface, and you have to look at it electrically isolated. You should not insulating, sorry, not as, and use of some materials not allowed in some application, like silicon is not allowed to use in some applications, and mechanical limitation. This is one of the major concern when we come into the thermal interface material. The reason is we use the heat sinks. The mechanically how you fix this on the PCBs is also plays very important role selection of thermal interface material. So each application will be differ depending upon how your heat sink is placed on the PCB. As I told you, some applications you use the heat sinks, very small heat sinks, and some applications use enclosure itself is the heat sink. So depending upon the applications, the mechanical limitations plays major role for the selection of thermal interface material. And the most important thing, high operating temperatures. So that is, now we are talking about, since morning we discussed, the systems are getting more ruggedized. We have as applications right from automotive and space and industrial also we have. So where the temperature will keep on increasing. So you have to keep eye on the interface material, what is the operating of that particular interface material. So this is more introduction about thermal interface material. But next thing is the point comes to thing is like, how do you, as a design engineer, how do I select the product? This is the most question you have to ask by yourself when you are selecting the part, because as I told you in the previous slide, every application is different from the other applications. So what are the questions I need to ask before finalizing the part? The first question is the gap size. So what is the gaps we have between the hot component as well as the heat sinks? How much gap we have? And then how the material performance. So if you think about the material performance, we have n number of materials available in the market, but as for the real application, how much the conductivity, that is what the material performance means. And again, what is the size and thickness, how much mechanical stress it can take about, whether you need adhesive or non-adhesive, how do you want to fix it, all this come into the material performance. And the most importantly, thermal resistivity and thermal conductivity, which is two factors plays very important, how the material is going to be applied. And then how your heat sink, cooling assembly you're fixing on the PCBs. That is also you have to consider what kind of heat sink. I think when I ask the customers what kind of heat sink you are using, the most of the customers we say we customize ourselves or maybe we buy some local. It's up to your choice, but make sure that whenever you are selecting the heat sink, please ask de-rating of the particular heat sink, because it also plays very important role when you're selecting the thermal interface material. So then special requirement, obviously it has to be electrically isolated, thermally conductive. These are the things which you need to consider, and based on we can select the part numbers. So since time constraint, I'm not going in deep of the how do you calculate what kind of product what kind of parameters you need to consider. But before selecting the part, so we can do the mathematical calculations, and then we can do the simulation, then we can go for the proto. So mathematical calculations, you can take the values from the junction, like junction temperature of hot components, and what is the thermal conductivity of the interface material, and heat sink calculations on how much the operating temperature. So all this you can put it into the formula and you can get the values, and then you can go for the simulation. Aspect is a simulation tool which normally we use to give the solutions, and then if that works, then you can go for the proto. So when we analyze the mathematical and the what you call simulation tool and the proto, more or less the values are coming if you use the proper values and the manufacturers who can provide all the values. So this is things. So maybe I like to emphasize one thing here is since last 2 years, before that we were not giving much importance to thermal interface material. But please consider in this part, the efficiency of your product mostly depends on the thermal interface material also. So now from Worth, how we can help you selection of components. So when it comes to this part, so we have multiple parts with us. First is the gap filler pad. So we have different thickness available with a different thermal conductivity with the different sizes. And then we have thermally conductive insulator, which is a very good product what we have with us. If you are using any FET, BGT applications, so we normally you could take the FET and type the IC to the heatsink. So we have this particular product where you can just insert between the hot heatsink and the IC and screw up. It is very good conductive. And phase changing material, this is if you are using any thermal paste, this is a very alternative product for us what we have. And thermal transfer tape, this is another material what we have. And the graphite sheet form, and graphite form of gaskets, which is just 2 belongs to the heat spreaders. Rest all 4 belongs to the gap fillers. I just give you the characteristics of each particular product and some applications where you can correlate to your applications also. The first thing is the gap filler part. Generally, purpose gap fillings. You can see the conductivity. What we have defined is 1 to 10 watt per millikelvin. That is what we have defined. And thickness starts from 0.8 to 18 mm. And we have another product, 0.53 mm thermal conductivity. So electrically insulated and different sheets we have in our product, and dielectric strength which costs 8 kV per mm. And then comparisons, yes, when you take about like how you use the gasket for EMI/MC point of view, the same thing, this also has to be compressed. Normally we suggest 10 to 30%. So if you have a gap of let's say 0.5 mm, we always use between 1 to 1.5 mm depending upon the applications, because you have to compress from 10 to 30% application. And then when you talk about the features, this material is a soft and comfortable, naturally thick and self-adhesive. So optimal performance comparisons, as I told you, it is like 10 to 30%. And then how we can use it? As I told you that if you are using the heat sink, you can use PCB and the heat sink. And if you are using enclosure as a heat dissipation point of heat sink, then you can place between the PCB and the enclosures. And then we have, this is what I was talking, TNI insulators. If you are using FETs, you can just place and screw up. It is a punctureless product, what we have. And connectivity wise, 1.6 to 3.5 mm. And we have PCM. So this is a very good product. What we have, if you are using a thermal paste, this is an alternative for the thermal paste. So how you can consider this? This is a heat sink, and the process, you can see the gap, and you can place this particular product over there. So then what happens is, once the temperature exceeds above the 50 degrees, it will transform into the jelly form and take the proper rough surface on the processor and transmit the heat to the heat sink. Once the temperatures come down below 50 degrees, it will come back to the original solid state. So the advantage of this one when compared to thermal paste is, after applying thermal paste over the period of 1 or 2 years, it will turn up into the powder and it comes back. Again, you have to apply thermal paste and use it. So this, by using the PCM, you can avoid those difficulties with this. And we have adhesive thermal transfer tape. We have a less thermal conductivity for 1.2 kilowatt per Kelvin. So mechanically structured thermal conductivity feature pressure adhesive for your BLDC applications kind of thing you can consider about this. And we have very good, when you talk about the heat spreading solutions, we have a graphite sheet. One thing which I would like to highlight is that you can look at the thermal conductivity. We have 1800 watt per Kelvin, which is very, very high with respect to gap fillers and everything applications. I'll not go through all the information which is mentioned in the slide. You can see, if you visit our website, maybe we have a demo place there. You can visit on the products. You can see how really it gives enhance the performance of the PCBs. And then we have another graphite form sheet with respect to gasket. So it's mostly looks like, as I told you, that your mechanical structures will be different. Like some mechanical enclosures will come L shape, some we have a round shape, not properly. So for that kind of applications, you can use the graphite sheet gasket as per your mechanical structures. Again, one point I would like is, even though it is a graphite sheet, again the conductivity is 400 watt per Kelvin, thermal conductivity, I must say. So that's again the features, and this one you can see the samples in our demo place. And to conclude my presentations is how you can select the product with respect to thickness, conductivity. This is a very useful table. So we have given thickness, we have given the thermal conductivity, and the colors you can see left hand side thickness wise, and thermal conductivity, yellow is the low, green and red medium, and red and blue is the high, and the green is the super high. So the colors are gap fillers, thermal conductivity, phase changing, thermal transfer, and graphite sheet, and graphite warm-up gaskets. So with this, I conclude my presentation. If you have any questions and these things, you can visit our booth during the lunch break. So apart from this, I have discussed about how heat can be dissipated to the from the hot component to the ambient temperature. At the same time, EMI-MC also very important. You need to consider it is a age-old, but never ending concept of solutions first. My colleague will take over how shielding material will help us to solve EMI-MC in your design. I hand over to the Harshit. Harshit.
Yeah, thank you, Vamsi. Thank you. Good afternoon, all of you. My name is Harshit Kumar, and I am field application engineer here in Würth Electronics, and I am taking care for the EMC point of view in the Würth Electronics. So today we will talk about the practical approach on the shielding. So how we can conclude the things with the respect of the shielding materials in our PCB and in our applications. So firstly, agenda will be like this. Why shielding materials are needed and the basic of shielding, and after that we will see some apertures, and after that we will see some shielding solution which we have in a product portfolio. So first question in our mind, like why shielding required? So today, EMI-MC is the hot topic in the industry. Like all of my colleagues talk about the like ruggedness of the device and the like efficiency wise and like the mill grade wise and all those things. So I will talk about the EMC wise. So why shielding required in our product portfolio? So there is lots of wire are going in our device, there are lots of tracks are going in our device. So all the like waves are electromechanical waves are going inside the wires, inside the tracks, and inside our device. So why we require the shielding materials? So we are going to encounter the things which we don't require in our device, and due to this electromagnetic wave, another device will be affecting. Okay, so what the unwanted noise can affect in the device? So they can produce some noise, resonance, errors, and malfunctioning in our device. So after that, the basic electromagnetic fields are radiated from and received by conductive structure. So what can cause be the like antennas in our device, in our application? So there will be some cables, interface apertures, and there will be some tracks, ground planes, wires in our PCB. There will be some components, heatsink, integrated circuits. So these all components can cause the EMI and EMC in our product or device. So we will encounter the things which are coming from the cables, tracks, and the heat sinks. So I will give you basic basic idea about the wavelength and the frequency relation. So relation between frequency and the wavelength will be like lambda equals to speed of the light and the frequency of the light or frequency of the wave which are going inside the tracks or inside the cables. So let's see an example. So if the frequency are 500 kilohertz, so wavelength will be around 600 meter. So and if the frequency will be like 2.4 gigahertz, so wavelength will be 12.5 centimeters. It is the like inversely proportional to the wavelength. So there will be some electric field as well as the magnetic field. So like how we encounter the electric field and how we can encounter the magnetic field. So in against the electric field can be shielded easily, and electric field line start and end on charge. So there will be no complicated things to encounter the radiated emission from our PCB or from our device. So let's see how we can encounter. So there will be some this is the starting point and this is the ending point. So there will be charges on the tracks. So we will not get much hardly to encounter the things into the electric field. So and if we will talk about the magnetic field, so magnetic field are difficult to shield, especially static and the low respect to the low frequency. So against the low frequency, we required high permeability materials to encounter the things in the application. And you can see here we are going to use material inside the application. How the magnetic field are coming from our device and how we are going to encounter. So what will be the cause of the magnetic field? So skin effect will be there. So against medium frequency, we can see the skin effect on our wire or on our conductor. What is you can say the data are going inside the tracks. So there will be some skin effect will be there. So against the high frequency, we required reflection as well as the absorption, because in the high frequency we required protect our device from the another one, and shield our noise which are going outside from our device to will affect to the another one. So after that, we will look the apertures, how aperture works in this field. So aperture, like the determination of the shielding attenuation by measurement of measurement is limited 120 dB. So we can attenuate the noise which are coming from our device by using the aperture up to 120 dB. So you can see different type of apertures in the market. So there will be some like fully shielded, and there will be some cage type, or there will be some holes. So there is no real shielding is there. So there will be some leakage. So you can see here, this is the aperture size, and this is the another one aperture. So we have two gaps in the apertures. So what we are going to showing here, like there is some hole and there is some like hole. So in respect to the wavelength and the frequency, in respect to the wavelength and the frequency, the maximum linear dimension of an aperture is a crucial. Notice the surface area. Like if we are going to use a bigger one shielding material, it will not work as better. But if the this cutout, you can see cutout will work as an antenna in the aperture. So it is very most important thing to like reduce the cutout, and how we can manage the things in our apertures. So an aperture with length, if the aperture with length lambda by 2 has the same effect as the half wave dipole in our shielding cabinets. So if the electric field vector is oriented perpendicular or the magnetic field vector parallel to the aperture, the shielding attenuation and the frequency will be the 0 dB. There will be no effect due to the shielding. Yes, if a larger window required in our device, to dissipate the heat outside from our device, so we required some hole or we required some window inside the apertures. So what we can do here, we can reduce the window into different little window. So it will not work as an antenna, because we are going to reduce the length of the cutout. So like in earlier slides, sorry, in earlier slide we have discussed the cutout. So we have to reduce the window into the little slide. So we are indirectly we are going to reduce the size of the window. So shielding solution, how where which material are be suitable and how we can support to you. So we have different type of shielding materials for different application and with different materials. Like for interfaces we have different materials. For the like grounding we have different type of shielding, and for for the like ferrite sintered ferrite sheet, like if you want to cover the ICs or some specific area. So we have different type of materials in respect to the grounding. So we will look into the product side. So if there is some slots in our device, there is some slots in our device, so we require some like conductive thing in between to the slots, because we are going to reduce the resistance between two plates. So for this type of slots, what we have in a product portfolio, we have different type of gaskets, like as all of you aware, and you know the EMI EMC. So if we are going to EMC lab, so at the gate we can see this type of gaskets to gas tight the chamber, because we don't require outside from the chamber, and we don't want to send the inside the chamber. So we require this type of gaskets, elastometer gaskets, and different gaskets to cover the or seal the area. And after that, if we are going to use in our product, we required some heighted type, or we required some gap filler type. So we have this type of conductive textile gasket. This is the sponge type. So if you will put this gasket into your application, so this will be some spongy type. So you can place the gasket between your body, or between your chassis, and you can tight the screw. So it is made of nickel copper fabric. And we also have the double sided adhesive, it attached if you require. And after that, the elastometer gaskets. This is the higher IP rating. If your product required higher IP rating, you are going to use in the rugged electronics, so we have this type of elastometer gasket in our product portfolio. And the temperature range -50 to 150 degrees centigrade. So like EMC, we are going to show the EMC gate here. So if you required some spongy time but with highly conductive material, so we have this type of contact spring gaskets, are made of copper beryllium, which will give our low IDC value inside the contact. So this type of gaskets also we have. You can see outside the EMC chamber gate case, this type of gaskets we also have. And after that, the cable solution. So we have different type of cables, different materials cables. So if you are going to use a shielded wire or shielded cables, so we have this type of clips as well as this type of shielding to reduce the overall the resistance into the surface of the cable. So what is the how we can say, if we are going to use shielding cable, so how we are going to grounding, how we are going to ground the upper side cage or the gaskets of the cable, upper side gaskets of the cable. So it is not recommended inside the cable. So to reduce these things, below these things, we have this type of clips. You can put the clips like this onto the cable, so it will give the overall better result as in respect of the resistance. And for the interfaces, we have different filtered type of interfaces, D sub connectors, RS2, 32, 485. For these kinds of connectors, we have different type of the shielding materials. We if we are going to use the sub filter, so we are providing some shielding parts inside the you can put inside the connectors, and you can tie it with the chassis. And this is the board level shielding, in which we are going to use the shielding cabinet type of shielding. If we are getting some emission for a specific area, from a specific area, so we can we can shield, or we can encounter the noise onto the PCB. So we have different type of shielding cabinets, like through hole SMD, or one piece, two piece. So we will see. So for the board level shielding, we have one piece or two piece frame plus cover. What we are going to do here, we are we having the product into the SMD type as well as the through hole type. So sometime we see, like, if we are we covered the things like this type of shielding cabinets, and we required some like modification below the shielding. So we are not able to do the things. So for to reduce the things, we have this type of two piece shielding. So firstly, we will put the base onto the PCB. After that, we will put the shielding. So if we require some modification below the shielding, so we can do that. And for the SMD one, we have the special things like SMT clips we also have. So if we are going to use only the single piece shielding, so we have this type of SMT clips. We can put the SMT clips onto the board, and we can fix the shielding onto that. So if you require some customize shielding, or customize shielding things onto your board, so we have this type of shield die product in our product portfolio. So you can make the shielding cabinets according to your need, like how much height you require, and how much area is at your PCB, and how much thickness you require. So we have this type of product in our portfolio. So you can fold the sheet, and can made according to your applications. And after that, you can place a order with your supplier. So on board level shielding, we have the flexible absorber sheet with adhesive layer for attaching the PCB or housing. What is the application of the flexible absorber sheet? So it will reflection. It will do the effect onto the reflection as well as the absorption in the near field as well as the magnetic field. So here you can see we are using the electromagnetic flexible absorber sheet inside the cabinet. So what the absorber sheet are doing here, the outside noise are not coming into our device, and the inside noise are not going outside to the outside our device. So here you can use as a adhesive tape, shielding point of view, you can use a adhesive tape inside your body or inside your chassis. So how the permeability works inside the different materials and the different things. So we have the graphs here. So we have WEFAS materials in our product portfolio. So you can see here how much attenuation, or how much the effectiveness we are getting from our materials. So you can see the with respect to the frequency. So if we require higher attenuation, so we will use the first one, or first one graph you can see. Or if you require something here, so and after that, board level shielding, we also have the material with different thickness. So these graphs are from our Red Expert platform. It is the free of cost platform. You can see the effectiveness onto that. After that, we have the shielding material for the NFC, or the RFID, or the your wireless power technology. So we are going to show here like how much difference we are getting from the absorption side as well as the reflection side. And after that, we have the thermal material WEFS with, and we are going to use in between to the heatsink and the CPU. For the grounding connection, we have this type of metallic spacer to take the proper grounding, and this type of earthing belt. If you are going to use if you are going to EMC lab to qualify your product, so you can use this type of earthing belt to proper grounding from duty to the earthing. And after that, we have this type of ground connection between to the PCB to PCB or PCB to chassis. So this is the this is the gold plated contact springs, and here you can see the how much the thickness how much the compression we require and how it will work in respect to the thermal. So here we have different we have different materials. We have different material to grounding the PCB or to the chassis or to the grounding. After that, we have this type of SMT foam gaskets to grounding the PCB with the chassis. After that, thank you very much. Yes, sorry. We have all the demos in our stall. So if you want to see the how the material are going running to picture, so you can see the stall. We have all the materials at our stalls. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Harshit and Mr. Vamshi. So we have come to the end of all the sessions for the day, and now the floor is open for our Q&A sessions. I know many of you must have a lot of questions to ask, so please feel free to ask any questions. Thank you.
Hello. Audible? So flat. Hello. My sound is not clear. Hello. So any questions, anything on the EMC point of view, thermal point of view, any questions you have?
We have demo there for the thermal interface material. How can you see the temperature on the traces, and how we can avoid live demo is there with respect to our graphite sheet and the gap fillers and thermal transfer tapes. So you can just go there and you can see the live demos.
Just precautions, do not touch the board because it's too hot. Okay. If you want to touch, then wear the gloves. There over is there. So only you have one gloves. If you want to touch, please wear the gloves. Okay. Any questions, anything you have? Okay. Thank you.
All right. Looks like the presentations were very clear. I'll now invite Mr. Wasim on the stage to share a few words with us. Wasim.
Thanks, Payal. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I know we are in the fag end of the event. So first of all, I would like to thankful to all of you for coming all the way and making this event a grand success. And as you know that this is our fourth event. We started off in Pune and moved on to Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, and Chennai. This is our last event. Bangalore is always special and energetic. Thanks to all of you for coming all the way. And I would like to thank Payal and Mauser team for relentlessly working hard, making this event successful. And I hope all of you enjoyed the event with the topics that were covered. I would like to thank the speakers, Manish Soni, Navneet Vinayak, Sai Kumar, Vamshi Krishna, Harshit Kumar for making us learn more insight about industry and technical aspects. I would also like to thank Daphne and Ceres for coming all the way from Taiwan to address the event. They are not here, they just left because they have to catch the flight. And last but not least, we would like to thank EFI team for relentlessly working us and making this event more success. Thank you so much. The lunch is right towards your left, and please enjoy your meal. If you have any questions anywhere, please reach out to us and our suppliers. We are always around you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
Your ingenuity, your passion to create is helping drive our growth. And the technological advancements you've either designed or inspired are fast becoming integral components in the automation of Mauser's logistical operations. Sensing, motor control, mobile scanning, IoT, machine learning, robotics. All technologies you, the engineer, have designed, we use in our global distribution center to stock more products, consolidate more orders more accurately, and ship faster than ever. So thank you for all that you do and for developing all the innovations that allow us to continue to better serve your needs.
There are many places in the world where your access is limited. You can't enter the vaults of Fort Knox. You probably won't find Canada's lost lemon mine. You may never lay eyes on the Vatican's secret archives. And the lost city of Z could remain lost forever. But at Mauser, we give you unlimited access to the widest selection of semiconductors and electronic components from well over 1,000 leading brands engineers know and trust. On your quest for technology and innovation, let Mauser be